Ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. It is a week later, and we're back to talk about House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 3, with our trusty ally, EliteAri.
Hello, everyone, again. The third week.
Third week in a row. We're going for 10, unless Ari drops out or is busy one week.
Yeah. Are there any breaks, in the...
No, I
they
think...
even announced...
Yeah, I think they put up a thing, and because I saw this also for that terrible Lord of the Rings show. I haven't actually seen it, right? I was just meme and chat, don't get mad. They both of them had similar tweets that had like the dates for every episode, and on the House of the Dragon one, there were it went up in 7s. I'm pretty sure I counted correctly every time, and it had 10.
Beautiful.
So we're getting the Game of Thrones 10 count.
Yep.
But... Mr. Ari, are you going to kick us off with your overall thoughts on Episode 3?
Overall thoughts. I think it was very good. Again, like I would dare say this might be my favorite. Either last week or this one so far. I've liked both of them a lot. It was great. So much happens, as always. I think like the runtime is really good for these.
1 hour and 3 minutes. I saw that.
Yeah.
Because I was again, as I was talking with Stream beforehand, there was a 4-hour-and-a-half wrestling pay-per-view on today that ran into House of the Dragon. So I watched that first, then watched House of the Dragon later than I usually would. And so I could see how long it was on binge. I was like, 1 hour and 3 minutes. I'm very impressed. I'm very happy about this.
Yep. So what do you think?
Well, it was a pretty fun time. Pretty good. You said that it might be your favorite. Now, Minty is a selfish prick. Because he already talked to me for like 2 hours about this fucking episode. So I'm a little less motivated to jump out. And we actually did speak about ranking episodes. And I can't remember what he said. I think he said I was a hoe for what I did. But I think it might go 1, 2, 3 in order of best, which is the opposite of what you just said.
Whoa, that's crazy. Okay.
This action nonsense, I don't know if I'd be needing it. I'm just being an action hater, as I always am. But I don't know. The episode kind of focused on 2 things, really. I don't know. I feel like I like talking more than fighting.
Yeah, I think I agree.
But yeah, it was still very
good. In terms of like the action stuff at the end, I think the thing I found the most interesting is just what it means for Daemon. Like he's just rolling that, I guess. Yeah.
Now, we usually save this for like the end, but did you watch the inside the episode thing?
I did.
Oh yes, okay.
And I also went and watched last week's preview for episode 3, like this week's episode.
After you watched,
and they just said, because they did, and they just spoil everything. It's crazy. Like
did they really
announce the time skip? They talk about there's a baby and his name's Aegon or whatever. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't watch that, and I'm definitely not watching like the next week's one.
Oh, it's so exciting though. I'm definitely going to tell you a little bit about the fucking preview.
Oh yeah, but not. I don't want to know everything. Like,
yes.
But yeah, inside the episode, saw it.
Yeah. Because in the inside,
it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to give the brief overview of what they said, they basically talked about the episode being about leaving childhood behind, and they talked about that in regards to Daemon and Rhaenyra, and they basically Now this is actually an interesting thing. This is maybe where we should start. Let's just start with Daemon. He's jumping right now. He's so excited.
Yeah.
His hands are waving.
What a man.
These Daemon simps, they need to be stopped. Now, this Daemon fella, his characterization was a little weird to what I understand Daemon to be. And I thought initially, and the inside the episode actually kind of cleared this up, where they basically say, oh, this is like when Daemon basically becomes the Daemon we know. I'm actually going to try and find an image here. How do you spell Daemon? Daemon's character, Daemon is like infamous before I really even knew much about Fire and Blood and stuff. George famously has an interview segment where he basically says Daemon is his favorite Targaryen, and he said this like 5 years ago before anybody knew who he was. He liked Daemon before it was cool. He also made Daemon. Funny how that works. And there's this one image of Daemon. Now, I found a shitty version of it, but if I scroll down, I should be able to find a better version of it. But there's this one image, and it's of Daemon with his gold cloaks. The gold cloaks from episode 1, presumably from that scene. I'm going to copy and paste this into... I'll give it to you in chat, but then I could just bring it up on stream real quick, so I don't have to do any editing later. And this isn't as obnoxious as it is right now. Let me just switch scenes here, and it'll be easy. It's this image. Now, Daemon in this image, he looks a little... there's just something about it that gives different vibes. Like, Damon is very, like, sort of pompous and excitable and very anti-hero-esque through Matt Smith here in these first 3 episodes. Whereas Damon, I always thought was, like, more sullen and sort of, like, scarred in a cool way, sort of. It's still that anti-hero bad boy sort of shtick. Because I think if I read, like, the line to introduce Daemon is, like, no man was ever loved or hated as much as Daemon Targaryen or whatever. So basically, like, he's the most loved Targaryen in history, and he's also the most hated Targaryen in history. Is this sort of this polarizing figure. But in that image, he's sort of got, like, a sullen, there's a look on his face. It's the Daemon look. That's what I think of when I think of Daemon, or at least I did before Matt Smith brainwashed me with his face.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a bit of a different vibe. So I think we might go in that direction more in the future, because inside the episode, bring this all back full circle, they say this is sort of like a rebirth for Daemon, of sort of like him finding himself. They also describe that like that because and Laenor, who we get a bit of in this episode, actually it's his plan, interestingly. And he basically says it's kind of a suicide mission. And in the inside of the episode, they elaborate on Daemon's motivation in that regard of, like, he kind of wants to die in that charge, but he just kind of survives through his own intestinal fortitude, his own skill, his own sort of desperation. It's like the scene in Berserk where Guts falls down and he's got the arrow in him. He's even got the arrow in him. Oh my God. They're copying Berserk. And this is when Guts is a kid and he falls down the fucking thingy and the wolves come after him as he's, like, lying in a puddle or whatever. And he has this internal monologue about, like, why am I fighting? There's no reason to live. Gambino just tried to kill me and I killed him. Lamau, spoilers for Berserk Volume 3. But then he fights back against the wolves and he succeeds and he continues to live on because every human inside wants to survive, or whatever the themes are. And I think that's a bit of what's happening with Daemon here. I don't know. It'll be interesting where we go with Daemon in the future. I feel like he'll still have that charisma. And in the preview, we still do... this is actually something from one of the original trailers where he walks into the throne room again and Viserys confronts him, and it seems like they're going to have a big scene next episode where they're mad at each other. How interesting.
Good. Yeah.
But the charge was cool. It had the Game of Thrones meme where a bunch of arrows come down, but he barely gets hit. Though he did end up getting hit with, like, 3 of them.
Yep.
That was a Legolas, not a Legolas. What's the fucking prick's name? Boromir Kill. He got 3 arrows and he died. Daemon survived. What a chad. Ned Stark ain't shit, apparently. But that's what I was thinking about. But what were we saying about this? You like this scene? This fight scene at the end? Daemon, what a fella.
I thought it was good. I mean, I just like okay, so oh man, there's just so much to talk about. But I guess I liked how different Daemon felt, in that it feels like he's been fighting for a long time now. Yeah. And it seems like he's just been losing, right? And he's just not happy. And he, like, when he gets the message from Viserys and is like, I'm gonna send these people to help you. He just has this look of like he's laughing at it, but he's also hating it, and he's like, I haven't accomplished anything. It's like his belief in himself is kind of gone at that point, which I found really interesting.
He loses a lot, because he loses to at least episode.
He hasn't done anything to prove himself, really.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is. Like, he's going to fight that battle to prove that he can achieve something,
and he does,
which is such an interesting thing for him. He certainly does. Yeah.
So Daemon now, with potentially the skills or the accomplishments or the reputation to back up his personality, his bravado. It'll certainly be interesting.
Yep. Unless he dies of grayscale, all right?
Did he have grayscale? What the fuck is going on with old Crab Feeder?
It looks like it.
Oh, did you think it was interesting that the Crab Feeder is done? It's teased in episode 1, highlighted a lot in episode 2.
Yeah.
And 3's gone.
Yeah. I was incredibly surprised. I thought, firstly, I thought we'd get like a big fight in the actual cave itself, and then somehow he'd get away. But no, he's just dead. Yeah. Crazy.
I kind of like that it happened off screen. I could see people complaining about that, but I was
no, I don't know. Him
dragging the thingy was
surprised.
Was cool. But yeah, Crab Feeder is something that's mentioned in the book. I don't think there's a lot of, like, if you go on the Crab Feeder's wiki page, it's not very long at all. So by my estimations, that means that he's not that important of a character. And I knew it was sort of like it's kind of to get Corlys and Daemon aligned, and that might play into things in the future.
Yep.
In a bunch of interesting ways. But On the frontier, besides that, Corlys is there. He's not doing too much, but we do get the introduction, or the proper introduction, of an older Laenor. Now, we saw a younger Laenor at the tourney in episode 1. We saw his sister last episode, being caught, trying to court the king. That was everybody's favorite scene. And now it's been 3 years, so there are 2 actors. This is the first time we've seen a grown-up actor, basically. Obviously, I guess this is kind of a spoiler if you don't know, but I don't know how you wouldn't know. But we are going to get older Rhaenyra and older Alicent, and presumably...
Yeah, I've heard so much of that.
Older Laena, we should meet soon. It's interesting because last episode we got some Laena stuff, this episode we get some Laenor stuff. It's not too much, but they are being set up for characters down the line, so she'll be older too when we see her next.
Yep.
Younger Laenor didn't get any lines. Like, younger Laena got a whole scene on and stuff. But...
Yep. I don't think I even saw him. I mean, I know he's there. I just did not notice him. Yeah, crazy.
You mean in episode 1, not in this episode, right?
Yeah, no. Obviously, I saw him this episode. He was on a dragon. My goodness.
His dragon sea smoke. He's blue. Isn't that cool?
Crazy. I liked how Daemon's dragon looked this episode, actually.
Yeah.
Like, he looked really like skinny, and he looked like a lizard, like in the sky. It was
he's
really
a blood worm. They call him the blood worm because he's a little wormy cylinder fella. He's skinny but long. Lamau. That's an innuendo.
Good one.
But other than that, Laenor, he says Dracarys a few times. It's pretty cool. He is talking. It's shown that he's like he's competent. He's respected enough to be speaking with his father. He's got to be like 15 or maybe 16. Well, Rhaenyra is now 17, and I think she's a bit older than him, so maybe he is like 15.
Yep.
But yes, wait. I think his sister is older than him by a year. See, I know what
she was 12, right?
Yeah, so in the 3 years, that would make him 14, but the actor definitely looks older than that. He looks like 17 or 18. But whatever. He's older. He's introduced. Note for later. I don't know if there's much more.
We got a lot of new characters this episode. It's crazy. I don't know if I can even keep track of them.
Oh, yeah, I
mean,
guess
obviously,
do.
yeah.
It's like, who else?
Yeah, I mean, even in that scene alone, we get
Corlys's brother.
I would assume.
Yes, brother. Younger brother, obviously, since Corlys is the Lord. He doesn't like Daemon. The men don't like Daemon because he's presumably been losing and getting everybody killed for the last 3 years. But then he proves himself come the end of the episode. We got some more crab feeder porn at the beginning, I guess we should mention. He was the shot of the nail going through the hand, and then you see the blood go through the back. That was gross. Cool and effective. I guess there's no way he had grayscale, because then his whole army would have grayscale, and then we got a big grayscale problem, and Daemon's got grayscale, and I'm pretty sure Daemon,
maybe he's just careful.
Don't got no grayscale. I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure they established that you can't really be careful. You're kind of fucked. That's why we send him to the
but Jorah wraps his hand, right? You're all good.
Yeah. Jorah nearly fucked everything up. But yeah. Just go to Sam, he'll peel it off. Remember that? Crazy that first show. But I think that might be it on the Daemon fighting front. The fighting scenes were cool for what they were. The Triarchy is seemingly being beaten. Will they be back?
What did you think about the dragons? Like, the actual, like, them using combat? Because to me, it felt very different to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they definitely seem... Well, I was going to say weaker, but then in Season 8, dragons are suddenly kind of weak, because you just shoot them out of the air real quick. But
I mean,
Daemon
to me,
was
it
in trouble when they were shooting... At the beginning of the episode, when they were shooting fire arrows at him.
I just felt like there wasn't as much fire. Like, they were being very sparing with the use of, like, fire, at least like, compared to, like, Drogon, I guess, is the only other comparison.
Well, yeah. Well, Daemon... Well, this is kind of contradicted by what he does, but presumably there are his blokes still on the beach there, so he doesn't just want to flame it all, but then he lands on that one bloke, and...
that's a good point.
The crab feeder is a prince of, I think, Lys, and they say his actual name at the beginning, so I was going to say if you caught that, but obviously you did.
Yeah. I'm just a genius. Yeah, I hear every word.
Seems weird. And
I watch with
ugly
subtitles as well.
I did watch with subtitles to this episode, which we will get to, because they elucidated some things. What a word. With certain characters, like in a certain scene with Alicent where there's a bunch of women around, they name some of those characters there, and that was interesting. But we'll get to that in a bit. But yes, they never really establish in the show, I don't think, that, like, you can kill dragons just by hitting them with an arrow in the eye. which is like their weak point. I think that's Smaug's weak point, right? No, Smaug has a little chip, right?
Oh god, I don't know.
Yeah, so
I've seen the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. That's all I've seen.
You got to get on the Hobbit, right? Duh.
All right, yeah, the best movies ever.
He had a little chink, and then I forget what the bloke's name is who kills Smaug, but whatever. But yeah, if you're shooting a dragon with an arrow in the eye, this motherfucker dies. So you got to be more careful than Danny was being. But they do have scorpions and stuff too. I'm sure we'll see them eventually. But yes, the dragons didn't seem like completely, especially when he was getting low to the ground, completely like a complete and utter win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. And even Sea Smoke, I did get the name right. When he was like flying over later, I was like, ooh, this could be scary. Don't get shot out of the sky, bro. And I know what happens to that character, so I shouldn't be worried. But yeah, the dragons, they definitely seem to be more vulnerable, I guess. But is that all the dragon-related, battle-related stuff to do?
No, actually, I just thought of something. In the fight at the end, which is what we're talking about, I guess, I really liked how the crab feeder kept looking up. Like, they just kept cutting to him, and before he'd send out more men or before he'd step forward, he'd always like look up in the sky and be like, where are these dragons? Surely there's going to be dragons. I just thought it was such an interesting like little character thing to show that he's like a actual competent like commander.
Yeah, there was a bunch of characterization, even though I don't think he ever says anything, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know, Daemon unethically surrendering then betraying. I think that's a war crime. But I think so is like torturing and feeding people to crabs. So we're not really playing by the rules out here. But that Daemon fella, just not an ethical bloke, and I'm sick of these simps, all right?
Yep.
He's no good.
That's what makes him cool.
Yeah, he's so cool, guys. But yes. All right, is that it for the battles and stuff?
I think that's it, yeah.
Now you've got the interesting stuff, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you have any place you want to start here? Anything maybe should we do new characters? We got some Lannisters.
Yes, we did.
Hanging around. You see them red cloaks in King's Landing? Like, man, we're in 2013 again. This is season 3 stuff. But yes, we've got twins. Lannister twins again. Are they incestuous? They're both blokes. That'd be fun. They don't have a dwarf and a younger brother. But remember, Jaime and Cersei were twins. That was the reference. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yep.
You didn't say, genius. Oh, you're a genius. So I was like, obviously he doesn't get it.
No, I just thought it. I thought it in my head.
Yeah. But one of them is on the King's Council. He seems like a nice bloke. He's trying to get word to... Because I think there are Lannister forces fighting with Daemon in the Stepstones. And so that's why he might be... He's kind of involved and worried. But he is also on the small council.
Yeah. Have we seen him? Because I didn't.
No. This is the first time. Okay. They waited to bring the lions out. But then we meet his brother. I think that is his brother. The one that tries to get married to Rhaenyra in this episode but doesn't do too well.
Yep. Jason, right?
Yes, Jason. And
what a name.
The other one's got something like that. I can't remember the other one's name. It's like Lionel is strong.
Yes, that's true.
So I don't remember what Jason's twin is. Though I was looking briefly, because I did spend some time on the wiki after the episode, and I was looking at the family tree, and I couldn't see any twins. So I don't know if there's no way the twin was invented. I think they might just be brothers. I don't know. There was something. I was looking at the family tree that they have at the bottom of every wiki page. But I also couldn't find Otto Hightower's older brother, which actually that might be a place to start. Ari, did you see that they were teasing that maybe the older brother is actually the mastermind behind this, and Otto is just taking his orders like a little bitch, and then he's like giving them orders to Alicent. Did you catch on to this?
Absolutely not. I don't even know who this older brother is you're talking about. Are you talking about in the scene where he's like, you need to convince Viserys to take Aegon as his heir?
Yeah, that's Otto's older brother. We saw him in episode 1. He came to pledge to Rhaenyra. He was like, I am Hobart Hightower. I pledge to be honorable to the thingy. And the big thing was he's doing it with a smirk, because we all know eventually he's going to fuck him over. and he's not a good boy to be trusted. But yes, he's given orders to Otto, and it's like, oh, Otto's very much been framed as the mastermind, the leader, and then you're just kind of reminded that Otto is the second son. He is not inheriting anything. He is not Lord of Old Town. He really has nothing if he isn't Hand of the King. Now he could be the Queen's mother? Ooh, the Queen's father. But outside of that, he sort of had to earn everything. And it's actually interesting because if you remember at the end of last episode, Daemon and Corlys sort of bond over being second sons, even though Corlys is not the second son, but he's basically saying the Velaryons are the second sons of the realm, basically the second sons to the Targaryens. So it fits. But Otto is also a second son in that sense, where he has carved out this this portion of relevancy and glory almost for himself. But it seems he's beholden it to his brother, which was it's a very interesting dynamic. It'll be very interesting to see how that played out, because that was also new to me, and I was like, oh, okay. But it is interesting how and even his older brother is way less tactful than Otto, because Otto is always like very sneaky about the way he does things, but he's just like, convince, obviously Aegon's going to be the heir Lamau, convince him. Also, why were they saying Aegon weird, Ari? Did you catch this?
No, I thought they said it right.
They're saying like Aegon or something. I was like, why? Why would you do this?
Hey, I think they know better than us. You know, they live in that world.
I think George also says Cersei and Dothraki. So fuck George and his pronunciations. I'm not calling him Dothraki.
Yeah.
Even though he also says like Varys or something. He says Varys.
Varys. That's pretty cool.
Varys,
like
Varys. One of them's wrong and one of them's right, and I say one of them, and I can't remember which one I say.
I think they're all right. Names are however you want.
Speaking of Varys, we meet Larys Strong. He's got a weird foot, Harry. Do you remember that? I think.
Yes, I do remember. I remember that guy. Yeah, he stood out with his foot.
Because we see Mr. Strong, who we've seen on the Small Council, and he's with two people. He's with his two sons. One of them being Larry Strong, and the other one to his other side, who he mentions later, because Viserys, when he comes up to Viserys, and Viserys thinks, oh, you're going to offer your son now. How? And he actually doesn't end up doing that. But his son's name is Breakbones, because he's a big, tough knight.
Yes.
I said that he's supposed to be a mountain parallel. He is not very tall at all, so they haven't gone too far with that one. He's just a normal height gentleman with short black hair.
Maybe he'll grow up more.
It's kind of long. I know he seems pretty grown, but he's actually shown laughing as Rhaenyra comes back into town with the boar. But it wasn't like a mocking laugh. It was sort of like an impressed laugh. Yeah. There'll be more on this later, Ari. Do you see how I'm sowing the seeds here?
I understand. Yeah, you've seen the preview for the next episode. Maybe he's in that.
Well, actually, very apt. But besides the preview, I've seen some other things too.
Yep.
That was actually a genius thing you just said, but we won't
you're welcome.
Lay on that. Wiki says they're twins in the first paragraph of the history section. I swear to God, I clicked on this very page, Heath, and I clicked on it, and I read the first bit, and I was like, Ari, do not click on this fucking page, by the way.
I wouldn't dare.
Wait, I think I wasn't on this one, because he is not the thingy. I must have been, maybe they have a younger brother and I was on his thing. No, Thailand is the good one that we like. All right, no, I was clicking on Thailand's before because I remember this image. Never mind, I was just fucking up. They are twins. Shame on you, Ari, for not correcting me.
I'm so sorry.
What are we talking about? Larys and oh fuck, I forgot Breakbones' actual name. But they were in their characters. Were those the other new characters you were talking about?
I think so.
Or were there other ones? Because I can't think of any other ones. Well,
it's those two, and then whoever had a name in the subtitles. Basically, I was like, okay.
Should we jump right over? I
don't remember who they were.
Alicent is talking to some ladies. We have a Lady Redwine, who has a fucking dog. What are those dogs called? A pug.
That was strange. Yeah, that's. I was like, they have pugs. It felt more modern or something. I know, it was so weird.
Yes, it was. It did feel like, oh, what are we watching here? But I guess pugs existed back in the day. You know, probably.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But also in the scene was Lady Lannister, who is older than Jason, so I presume it's her mother, and she's talking some shit very openly. She's very comfortable in her role. But it's very clear. Did that scene specifically, the chatting hens, if you will, did that scene remind you of anything? Um,
The chatting hens.
just all the
No.
women like gossiping like that.
No, I know what you mean, but no, I don't think
Oh
so.
well,
Should it?
Minty
In
first.
what, in Game of Thrones?
No. Minty first said that it reminded of Mad Men scenes, which I kind of see, but it very much feels like a famous scene from Goodfellas, where basically all the mob
I haven't
wives are
seen it.
shown. Yeah, I was fishing to see if you'd seen it, but in chat, see, they're all cultured gentlemen. They all know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a famous scene where we sort of cut to all the mob wives speaking, and they're all just completely shit talking everybody and undercutting everybody. It's like, oh God, wives are terrible. Never get one, Ari. But
Yep.
it's just sort of funny, and it's just sort of like the chatting hens undermining things, and sort of Alicent is sort of the young new queen, which I didn't even mean to mean as in queen, but like the young new, the hot young thing, which is how Karen in Goodfellas is portrayed in that scene where she's sort of indoctrinated, not indoctrinated, inducted into sort of the mob wives sort of scenario, and she's sort of sitting there listening as like the more esteemed ladies who've been talking shit like this for years and years talk around her. Should we talk about Alicent and Rhaenyra, Ari? Should we jump to them?
Yeah. Let's do it.
We don't open, but one of the first scenes in the episode, Minty wouldn't shut up about how great this scene was. We actually get Rhaenyra and Alicent talking. Now, I had said, I think last time that, they're not going to talk for like 2 seasons, and then we're going to get this big scene. Now, they really, because this wasn't like the emotional tell-all scene, clearly they've been around each other for 3 years and they don't talk much. Also, when the singer was there, I nearly jumped because I was like, oh my God, they just made Mushroom taller. And that's Mushroom, but it wasn't Mushroom. Or at least the subtitles did not indicate so. You'll hear whispers of Mushroom until they never introduce him. Because he's a dwarf.
Exciting.
And they don't want to have somebody try and follow up Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
But he's singing a song, and then he sort of gets caught in a thing where they're flexing their power, and eventually Alicent does win because he does leave. Because his queen commanded it. She is queen now. She's Aegon's already been born, Ari, and I nearly said the name of the baby in her belly, but there's another one on the way. Can you believe it, Ari? 3 years have passed.
Crazy
stuff.
Crazy. But here we are.
Oh, I wanna make mini references about the baby, the next baby, but I'm not going to.
It's gonna be a girl. There we go. You're welcome. And then Rhaenyra will feel even more replaced because now there's a female heir and a male heir.
It's got a sister now.
Terrible.
My goodness.
Yeah. And then they'll get married instead of Rhaenyra and Aegon. It's gonna be terrible and I don't know, crazy stuff.
No, Ari, you're a smart bloke. Moving on. That could have been sarcastic or poignant. You'll never know. Well, you'll probably know next episode.
Yep.
So this opening scene was an interesting one. Do you have any thoughts before I go through some things here, or?
Those Rhaenyra and Alicent one.
Yes,
like that
the
scene.
one near the.
Okay, yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah, the Weirwood Runner.
Weirwoods, that's what they're called.
Yes.
But go ahead.
I thought it really got to me emotionally in that I was very much on Rhaenyra's side.
Rhaenyra,
no!
Jesus.
Oh no! Yeah. Rhaenyra, actually, yeah, you're right. On Rhaenyra's side, where I'm like, oh, this poor girl, I guess.
You failed, Ari.
No one is listening to her, you know.
She's
and then
being a little
Alicent comes
brat.
in and that's the thing, because at the end of the scene, you get Alicent saying basically, it doesn't have to be this way, right? Like you don't have to. Like she's hating her and like this whole situation that she's in, and she doesn't have to be like that. It can all work out well. And I just find that so like, I don't know, dismissive and like Rhaenyra is feeling this way for a reason, and you can't just like tell her feelings aren't valid and be like, you don't have to feel like this. Like it got to me, it made me hate Alicent so much. But I came around at the end to understanding her more, and but in that scene, my goodness, my passion of hatred towards Alicent was very grand.
No, you've become a Twitter bot, just hating on Alicent. This episode had me liking her more than I ever have before. She's so
mature. No, I agree. Okay. I agree with
agree?
that. But that by the end of it, because obviously she doesn't do what Otto says, and she doesn't push Aegon as the heir when she talks to Viserys in that private scene. The way I saw it, she's like, let Rhaenyra marry who she wants when she wants. and do the right
she
thing.
kind of
That's what I
says
took from that scene.
manipulate Rhaenyra into thinking she's making the choice.
I mean, that's one reading of it, yeah. But I
I
definitely
think
didn't
she
read it like that.
outrightly says like Rhaenyra will only accept it if she thinks it's her choice, right?
Yeah, she said if she believes that she's choosing the person, then she'll get married. But I mean, another way of reading that is that if she truly does believe, then yeah, she will get married. Like, it's a nice thing to say, instead of the other option, which is force her to get married to someone. I don't know. There's two ways to take that, I think. Like, I didn't read that as her being manipulative at all. But I guess it could be.
There's an interest because I feel like everything Alicent has done in this entire show is basically writing a line of sort of like, this could be read as very manipulative or it could be hopelessly honest. And I think I was leaning towards hopelessly honest in this episode, actually. Like, I don't know, she's even like last episode from afar, she's always like trying to help Rhaenyra. Especially last episode when she's like, she's like basically mending Viserys and her relationship without them even knowing. And she is being nice to Rhaenyra kind of externally all the time. I'm trying to, because there are a few lines where I was like, especially, like this is the exact example of what I'm talking about, but I can't find him now. Oh, also, the dude is singing a song about Nymeria again, who they mentioned in the first episode. The 1,000 ships fleeing the dragons. She founds Dawn. The first brown people in Westeros.
Founds Dawn?
Yeah, she like.
Wow. All right.
That's how the brown people got on Westeros, and that's why they're in Dawn, because she left. They are the Rhoynar. They leave Rhoyne. After a bunch of Valyrians, before it was just the Targaryens, burned down their whole fucking city. This is mentioned in the first episode because this is one of the spin-offs that has been thrown around. Nymeria and 1,000 ships is the title. So we might see that story one day. We might be talking like this about that, and you'll be like, remember when Carl brought this up? Rhaenyra was reading about it and singing about it. But that was just a little aside. This is also part, because this is also something they mentioned on the inside the episode of sort of Rhaenyra growing up, and this is really the theme of her in this episode of sort of like, she basically shows up at the hunt, and she basically realizes that she says this in the carriage, but no one's there for her, and people are looking down on her, and even Jason Lannister, who's trying to marry her, has already assumed that she's not going to be the queen, and that Aegon is going to obviously be named heir soon. So she's in her like self-pity. She is also losing the fight of not being a politician at all and just being moody with the girls and with Jason Lannister and with everybody, with Alicent even. So she's sort of surrendering in her like moping around, and by the end of the episode I feel like she's starting to learn, well, I gotta start politicking around here and show the people that I should be their queen. I'm very queenly. I'm not just a kid moping around, because she is very alone. Now, in the middle of that, I had a thing that I wanted to pause and go on a tangent about, but I was like, I'll save it for the end. Oh, when Viserys started going on a hunt, did you have any Robert Baratheon flashbacks and think this was the episode he was going to die? Oh, I'm so proud of you,
I did. I thought even when he gets that confrontation scene with the deer, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is where he dies. There's someone accidentally lets go and the thing stabs him and he dies just like Robert. But nope, he survived.
He started drinking more this episode. I think I've talked about how he's a drunk in the books. I'm spoiling things by talking about emissions when they'll get.
You know what? That is funny, because as soon as I saw him like get more drunk and drunk, I thought of that like picture that he'd sent last week, and I was like, yeah, I can see the like kind of relation, I guess, to that picture. But here we are.
Oh, when did you notice he was missing 2 fingers, or did you not notice?
So I know I noticed firstly, I noticed he had a glove on like the whole time. I was like, oh, why does he have a glove on? I guess it makes sense if he's got a thing. But in the scene toward the end where it's him and Alicent, I saw there he's missing like the tip of it, I think, or tip of.
He's missing like 2 holes, like kind of. I don't know if it's at like the, what do you call it? Not the knuckle, but the thing in the middle of your finger. Yeah. It's from them down. But yeah,
crazy.
He's missing 2 of them, not just the one with the maggots from last episode. But
yeah.
This is a thing about Viserys. He loses some fingers.
That is, we saw why he cut himself on that chair.
Yeah, presumably.
The maesters did nothing. Those useless maesters. My goodness.
Indeed. But Yeah, the Robert parallel with the hunt, I was like, oh, that's funny. That's cute. The Lannisters are around too, and they're around when he's drinking. You just know that Lancel prick is going to pop up and give him some more wine, and this boar is going to get him.
Yep.
Even Kristen Cole is there. He's a
The boar gets Rhaenyra.
for Barristan. There was no Renly around, though, because his younger brother is off doing something else. God, remember Game of Thrones? What a time.
What a show.
I feel like I was going to go somewhere else with the hunt, but I've forgotten my place. So, what else haven't we talked about?
There's a white deer.
Oh, indeed, and they're hunting a white hart, which is a stag thing. Now,
Yep, I had no idea what a hart was.
yeah, neither did I.
Like they brought it up. I was like, is it some type of dragon or something? Like, is it gonna be some mythical creature? But no, it's just a deer, really big deer.
No, it's a stag actually, which is the Baratheon sigil. So there's another reference there. Also, the Lannisters were helping hunt the stag. Oh my goodness, we're referencing everything out here.
Crazy.
But yes, there was a normal brown. So they also talk about this in the inside of the episode. Everything's being coloured by the inside of the episode. You shut up about this.
Well, I don't like it.
But they do talk about how Viserys is sort of going through doubt here because he's basically seeing Rhaenyra be a little brat, and she's like, man, this bitch can't rule. She sucks. Maybe Aegon is the king, and then this supposed symbolic white thingy showing up is sort of like because Viserys is a very prophecy bloke. He's looking in the fire, talking about dreams he had, which is interesting because he talks about how he had the dream. Doesn't he imply in the first episode in the scene with Emma in the bath that like he had the dream recently or something? But then he's talking about how he had it like before even Rhaenyra was born. Did you get any implications there that he could be like lying or he's misremembering through the booze or something?
Not at all. I didn't get any of that, but I do remember when he was in that bathtub scene, he mentioned it. I don't remember if it was like he's talking about, that dream I had ages ago, but
yeah, he just says like I saw it and our son was born and he had a crown on and everything.
And
obviously Rhaenyra is not a son, but through the course of the episode, this white heart does present itself to Rhaenyra. It's the scene you're looking at on screen when she looks behind. So it seems to be sort of this symbol that Rhaenyra is the prince that was promised, because did you know that in the language where the prince that was promised thing comes from, there's no gendered pronoun, so it could mean prince or princess. Whoa, it's going to be Daenerys, guys. It wasn't Daenerys in the end. It was Arya. How wacky. Was it? Or was it, I guess. Arya did stab the bloke, so... But, yes, it's sort of the heart presenting itself to Rhaenyra as if that's an endorsement that she will be queen. Now, is that how everything will... Should we put stock in superstitions like this? Or should we ignore them?
No.
I think we should talk about that at the end. Ari's big predictions for how everything ends. But,
oh, boy. All right. Yeah, I'll do that.
But yes.
It will be for you to listen to it.
The stags think that Rhaenyra should be queen. Now,
yeah, I think it's firstly. I wonder if it's like more a symbolic thing, or if it also will be her being emboldened by that, and to see that as a sign that she will be a good leader. Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we should backtrack before we get there. Now, in the trailers, I remember seeing Rhaenyra with like blood on her, and I was like, is she going to fight is she going to help fight the crab feeder? That's not in the books, but actually it was from a boar. So that was a cool little twist. Because I don't think this hunt is mentioned very much in the book at all, if it is at all. Maybe they mention like on Aegon II's fucking second name day, they had a hunt and they went hunting or something. Because nothing like too big to like the plot happens here. It wasn't like, and then this lord died at the hunt. So this was all kind of new for me. So I didn't know exactly what was going on. But yeah, why did I bring that up? I was going somewhere with it.
The boar.
Yes, the boar I mentioned, but I feel like that wasn't where I was going.
Kristen Cole.
Kristen Cole, indeed. I think we should sort of talk about the Rhaenyra stuff as it escalates. So initially, there's the scene in the carriage, which again we have Alicent and Rhaenyra in proximity, and they're not talking about each other. Why is the fat nursemaid so off-putting? Why? Ari, am I fat phobic, or did you get this vibe too?
I got the impression that she didn't want to be there. She's like in between all of this.
Well, it's clearly a very awkward situation, and they're like, oh man. Why do
I felt bad for her.
But again,
And here you are hating her because she's fat. My goodness.
yes.
What's wrong with you?
Continuing on from what we were talking about with the first Alicent and Rhaenyra scene, Alicent seems to be the more grown-up one here, and she's like being nice.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Because it is the line, right? Because it's like, is she being nice, or is like, because the fact that she is presenting as more grown-up than Rhaenyra, like, obviously pisses Rhaenyra off a lot, and probably pisses everybody that likes Rhaenyra off by proxy.
Yeah.
Now, I did say Rhaenyra was my favorite character last time, so my turn is not without sympathy here. But it's clear, like, they're similar ages. She's already got 2 kids. Rhaenyra doesn't have any kids. She's just pouting all the time. She doesn't really seem to have any responsibility. She seems to be very lonely. She doesn't have much of an impact on the ongoings around her, even though she's supposed to be heir. She feels like she's being undermined. She feels like she's going to be supplanted. It's clearly very isolated. Daemon's gone. She can't even talk to her. They continue to bring up the Daemon-Rhaenyra parallels in the Viserys scene later, but it's like, even like the little talking under her breath then repeating it, like, that's such a, like,
Oh, that was
I
so
remember
great.
doing that when I was 15. Like, yeah, this is like some little girl shit right here. What are you doing? You're supposed to be queen out here.
Yep. I thought just that repeating, like, what she said to Viserys, I thought that was really interesting, in that she could have just, like, in another show or like a less subversive thing, I guess, she could just not say it again, right?
Yeah.
Could be like, I'm sorry, what'd you
That's what's
say? And she wouldn't say it. But here she repeated the exact same thing. I'm like, hell yeah, queen. Great.
I feel like now I'm getting my Rhaenyra simp card out, but I feel like that's exactly how I've handled situations like that before. Because the thing is, like, when you say something under your breath, you're like, she could have looked over in the corner when Viserys says, "What did you say?" And then he would say it again, and the scene would awkwardly cut out at the end. But I feel like I've seen situations like that in my real life, and then when I was in that situation, I would just repeat it for further emphasis to show that I really meant it or something like that. I don't know. It was a big relatability to Rhaenyra moment, right? It's not all Alicent simpery around here. But
Good.
yes, it was a good characterization. Last time I think I said that I was most invested in the Alicent and Rhaenyra relationship. I think that might have switched to Rhaenyra and Viserys now. I feel like all of their scenes are very good, and probably the most interesting ones. Miller did drop in before and say that Viserys is the best character, and he said that's all, and he hasn't been back since. So I don't know. I feel it. Viserys is very interesting up front.
Yeah, I agree.
And we then, because I'm playing through this on binge as we speak. Wait, how do you watch the show, by the way?
Yeah, on binge. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I am
I'm a
now
good little
seeing...
boy. I pay for all my shows. You know?
Me too. But I'm just seeing the Strong family here. Mr. Strong, the main one, is becoming a rather interesting character where he...
Wait. Mr. Strong, who is this main Mr. Strong?
Well,
the guy on the council?
The small council one, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But he's becoming interesting. Like, last time... Like, he also rides the line. I feel like all of the House of the Dragon characters ride the line, where you can't tell if he's just a stooge or if he's manipulating things, or if he's actually maybe the only honest bloke around, because... He could have tried to, like, get Rhaenyra to marry his son too, but that's almost a subversive thing too, where he's like, actually, no, Your Grace.
Yeah.
I'm here to say basically what I was saying 3 years ago, that you've got to marry somebody to, from Corlys's
either
family.
families.
Yeah, it's very important. Seems like he might be acting not in his own interest, unlike Otto or Daemon or somebody else.
Yep.
We'll keep an eye
Which is
on
when they
all
twist
stuff.
it later and he becomes the main villain or something, right?
Maybe we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'm now seeing the Lannister family shot, because we've got a bunch of them here, and the wife, the mother presumably, that's in the latest scene. Look at them all teasing everything here.
Yep. I thought Jason's description, I think it was Jason who was talking about Castle Rock. I was so bored into that. Like, if I was Rhaenyra, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to go to Castle Rock.
Talking about how tall the mountain
big tower, bigger than the wall or whatever. Yeah, it's
bigger than
great.
the wall. That's that can't be true.
I know, but it's just a great description. And talking about how, we'll build you a dragon pit.
Yeah.
Like, man, I want to marry this man and go live with him in Castle Rock. It's great.
Rhaenyra said, "No, you come live with me, bitch. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm gonna be on the throne." Oh, also, again, the Hightower older brother that Ari suddenly doesn't remember has this really dorky moment where he like, Aegon second of his name, and it's like a half-hearted scream. Do you know what I'm talking about? When he's
Half-hearted scream.
It's like I don't know.
No.
It's so dorky the way he says it. I was like, ugh, God, these Hightowers. What a bunch of dweebs. Let's beat them up.
All right.
But I'm hoping somebody will say, yeah, Carl, I know exactly what you're talking about. That sounds like a minty thing to say. I'm surprised he hasn't brought it up. Now, they got this big fucking tent, and Rhaenyra's walking through the tent. I don't know, the tent was so cool. I was like, man, this fucking tent is big. What a tent. Kings and stuff, Lamau. But they're all wandering around. Oh, and there's so many cool dynamics here where it's like they're like screaming at each other and everybody gets really awkward. And there's another thing that's established here that's really cool is like it's basically like everybody's looking at Rhaenyra always, and you can sort of feel that she feels that as she's walking around. And then they also show shots of people like actually looking at her from afar, and the same with like Viserys when he was like drinking and like stumbling around. I was like, oh no, everybody's looking at him and thinking he's a loser. Like, not my Viserys, he's not a loser, guys. But the feeling of feeling being watched, I felt like that was really well portrayed and really interesting. But here, the first conversation, now Rhaenyra overhears this of the hens. They're over talking, and they talk about Lady Joanna Swan being abducted and sold to a pleasure house.
Yes.
Put this in the memory banks, Ari. This might be Lady Joanna. You'll like one day you'll rewatch the series and you'll be like, they mentioned that here, and you're gonna have a big bass in your voice thing. I was honestly like impressed that they mentioned it here. I was like, they do have to bring it up somehow. But Lady Joanna has been sold to pillow houses in the Free City. She's got abducted because of the crab feeder.
Terrible.
Will she ever show up again? But yes,
she'll show up in Marine.
Marine ain't happening, but in the Free Cities.
All right.
We also have I don't know, it was kind of almost endearing where the clubfoot dude asked to join them, and they're like, and Alicent stands up and is like, yeah. This is another moment of like envy from Rhaenyra's part for what like Alicent is clearly being accepted kind of by and is like being what is it, pampered, or when you sort of fake enthusiasm towards somebody, like all of them around him are sort of worshipping Alicent wordlessly or whatever, whereas Rhaenyra is sort of this outcast walking around, and then she comes in and doesn't fit in well. I don't know, all the little characterization things here. Again, it's like, oh, Alicent, what a grown up, what a good, I don't want to say what a good girl, because that's got some implications, but what a good girl.
What a queen. Yeah.
Yes, what a queen with a KW. And also Rosalind Redwine with her pug here. Now, the Redwines, in contemporary story, if we fast forward 170 years, have the biggest fleet in the realm. The Velaryons do not any longer. So it's sort of like, if you want ships and you're going to go to war with the Velaryons, maybe old Redwine over here would be important. Perhaps Rhaenyra shouldn't have alienated them so by making fun of everybody here. Same with the Lannisters. She's made enemies here. Will this come back to bite her? It is just a pug thing.
No.
But I feel like it's just like the rich girl, annoying, weird rich girl with the ugly dog trope. We've seen this in many a thing. You didn't expect to see it in Game of Thrones, but I thought it was good. Rhaenyra's acting here is also good when she makes a jest about cake. Now, that's a line from the first episode. But she basically reiterates that the crown is not at war, and she's like... And then somebody's like, oh, your father just refuses to admit it, and they get like snappy, sort of shit talking the king behind his back a little bit. Dragged into it by your uncle and sea snake. And then she's like, and how have you served Lady Redwine, by eating cake or something? And it's like a good, God, Rhaenyra's so cool. Everybody loves Rhaenyra.
Yep.
We hate Alicent here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a little
until the end of the episode.
Every week we get into this like thing where I start talking about every fucking line, and we shouldn't do it. But then we get the Jason Lannister scene. It's obviously creepy, and I don't think Rhaenyra realized that he was like flirting with her initially. And it was painfully obvious to me. I've seen too many Mad Men scenes like this. We're referencing Mad Men a lot, where it's just the creepy dude, and then after she walks off, he like throws out the cups. He's a pissy little piss boy.
Wait, creepy? I didn't get creepy at all from him. I thought he was actually being nice to her.
What a creep!
Really?
What an absolute
I-
1,000,000% creep!
Wait,
is
so
all.
to make sure
Why
we're
do you think
talking
she
about the
walks
same
away?
scene.
Yeah,
We're
the
talking about the
Castle
one where they
Rock one
first
with
meet.
the high. Yeah, what a creeper!
What's so creepy about it? He didn't like. I don't know,
He's
he gave her a drink. They talked about
absolutely a
his
date
homeland.
rapist.
Like,
Absolutely not a good person. Absolutely.
You're besmirching this poor man's name. He's done nothing wrong,
Absolutely
right?
not. She even says it later. Arrogant, entitled. He's like not smooth at all, and he's pretending to be
Okay,
smooth.
yeah.
He's
He
just
likes
like,
he's
ugh.
proud of his family, you know.
Ugh.
I don't know.
He's a Lannister. Gross. Get him out of here. We hate all
Yeah,
Lannisters.
yeah, he is a Lannister. But the way he described Castle Rock, my goodness.
It was very tall. That was almost good. It was almost good. It's taller than the wall. But you should clearly see that, like, even with her first line, she's not into it. And then they have an argument. It's so loud and everybody's looking in all awkwardly. God, it's so good. Then she rides off and we get a little date night with Kristen Cole. Now, Miller asked a question, I recall, in the first episode where he was like, did they fuck after the screen, after we cut away for Alicent and Viserys? Now, they probably didn't there. And I could see somebody asking a similar question here. Probably not, because they're maybe they're both turned on by blood, but they're kind of covered in.
He's
blood.
wearing a bunch of armor.
No, around the campfire, he clearly was not wearing armor. I was like, oh my god, are they gonna do it?
Oh, he wasn't. Damn. All right.
Yeah, he was in like his silky.
silky.
It was sexy and everything. He was ready. All right. They could have, but they didn't. They got attacked by a boar. We're clearly picking up those vibes here, right? It was teased in the first episode. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
But he is a man of Kingsguard, all right? He's celibate.
He's in the white book.
They do mention the white book here. It was cute. I was going to say something else, but I forgot my point. Imagine that happening.
No, never.
Oh, he talks about how he was fucking. Did you catch that part where he was like, oh, yeah, because she's like, were you ever betrothed or whatever?
Yeah.
He was like, no.
Yeah, he had a
but I was
chance.
fucking
He could've
out in the
married someone.
Dornish Mountains. And it was like, oh.
Yep.
God, Kristen Cole fucks. How cool is he?
What a surprise.
But he probably didn't fuck when the screen cut, all right?
Absolutely not. I didn't even get a whiff of that.
They were flirting, right? But yes, it wasn't as...
Yep.
There was not really an implication, because there was, again, a boar. There was something else he said here that I thought was particularly poignant that I was going to bring up, but I forgot. Oh, when she's like, they bring up, like, he says to her, like, a lot of women would, like, love to be in your position or whatever. And she says, because they've never been in my position or something. That was kind of a cute back and forth of, like, the princess complaining about her problems when some peasant girl is farming or something and hating her life. And it was just like, it was kind of a cute back and forth, which is true.
Yeah.
Which is the more stressful life.
Yeah. Definitely the peasant person, I would say.
It's probably a harder life. I don't know if it's a more stressful life. It's definitely a harder life. But indeed, we get the Jason then he gives this dumb fucking spear. You're telling me this ain't no creepazoid?
Yeah. No, I thought that spear was pretty funny. This I don't know.
Yeah, Viserys is getting a little bit more
uh,
drunk. Viserys does have like a temper, which I like that he's, because again, it's sort of like him being portrayed as sort of this king with no teeth, but he has like he
knows
has
how
a
to
temper,
yell.
yeah. And he gets it a little bit here. What specifically does he say? I can't remember. It's when Jason implies that Rhaenyra isn't going to be the heir, and they sort of get into a back and forth.
And he's like, you're meant to stamp out this kind of stuff, or report rebellion. I don't know.
You know, for a second I thought it was the Ned Lowe actor, by the way, who was playing Jason Lannister.
Oh.
Did you think about that at all?
No, not at all. But
He doesn't talk like Ned Lowe at all. God, that Ned Lowe guy talks so cool. We ain't talking about this until Black Sails. But yeah, then Otto comes in and tries to save the day. He's like, just marry Rhaenyra to fucking Aegon, you idiot.
Yeah.
But Aegon's 2. Then Rhaenyra, by recommendation of Alicent, would be Alicenting Alicent. How do you think she's going to feel when her friend marries
That's
her
a great
daughter?
Point.
She seems like she'd be down with it. God, Alicent is so nice. She's even willing to do it, like do the same dynamic, and she wouldn't even hold it against Rhaenyra. God, Rhaenyra sucks. We love Alicent.
Yeah, no. Alicent is too She thinks she's nice. That's the thing. That's why I don't like her.
She's just sad her mother's dead,
You agree?
right?
All right, good.
She's just sad.
Yeah, everyone's got a dead mother in this show. It does make you better
Kinda
than
true.
someone. I don't know.
We've got the Larry Strong scene. Then we've got the boar scene. How did we feel about the boar scene initially? This boar showed up. This one will grow up to kill. Its kids will grow up to kill Robert Baratheon. Not cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, she stabs it a bunch.
It was fun. I don't know.
She was letting out some anger here, some frustration.
Similar to Damon.
Yes, indeed. With the stabby. Wait, does Damon stab something? Because I remember thinking this at some point today, that this stabbing scene...
no. I was thinking about him killing the crab guy.
Yeah.
That was the parallel I'm thinking.
Oh, it was because Viserys also stabs the thingy later, and I was like, oh, they both stabby, and then have sort of like this realization. This fucking boar knocks fucking Cole a long way up.
Yeah,
I just
it was
saw
impressive.
it. But it really jumps on Rhaenyra. I don't know. I've never fought a boar before. I don't know how they usually act. Also,
Really?
the sword comes very close to her face. That could have been a big problem for old Kristen over here.
That whole situation was pretty bad, I think.
Oh, and then the
boar's
boar's like breathing afterwards, and then she stabs it. And like, because initially I'm like, oh, poor boar didn't die immediately. That sucks. This is actually an interesting topic, and this gets into the eventual scene where Viserys stabs the thingy, and then later when Rhaenyra doesn't. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and this is sort of a more general topic, but there's something I've been thinking about is sort of immoral acts versus how they're portrayed, and sort of how you can forgive like horribly immoral things if they're portrayed in like a funny way or something, and then your brain just doesn't think about it. And I've been thinking about this in terms of like bad criticisms, where people will be like, oh, this character did this terrible thing, so I can't like him or whatever.
Yeah, like Daenerys burning all of King's Landing.
Yeah, well, but that was portrayed as kind of a bad thing, so that doesn't really qualify for what we're talking about here. But like,
that's a good point.
I know,
all right.
in comedies, it's very easy to rub off. Like, I don't know, thinking of like Deadpool or something. Deadpool's doing some bad. Does Deadpool even do bad things that much? I don't know, but if Deadpool like shoots a bloke that maybe wasn't being too aggressive or something, and then he cracks a joke, and in comedies, it's just sort of accepted. Like, nobody would criticize comedies for doing that and be like, Deadpool's not likable because Deadpool's funny. So it makes him likable. But this is that's not really the point I want to make here, but Rhaenyra choosing not to kill the stag is sort of because going in, the typical audience member, I think, is going to be like, hunting's gross. Why would you hunt? That's bad. Poor animals. I was going to relate this to a Chainsaw Man thing. Kind of, yeah. I was like, man, gotta kill animals and stuff. That's not cool. This poor fucking thingy's got captured, and now we're gonna hold him while we get stabbed. That's just not nice, guys. Why are we killing things? That's no good.
Yeah. All for the sake of tradition.
Yes, but I eat meat, so I don't know how much legs I got to stand on here. Indeed. But I think Rhaenyra like telling Kristen Cole not to kill the fucking thing is sort of like endearing, and clearly like to portray her as a good good girl. But it sort of brings like, it's how you manipulate the bias of the viewer going in and what they're going to view as immoral or moral, because probably most people watching aren't vegans, but they would also think that like hunting was bad or whatever, and they would think there was some moral distinction there when there probably isn't. But it's sort of just this general thing I've been thinking about is sort of incorporating the typical view of what's moral or what's going to be perceived as moral by the audience. It sort of just goes against like logic bro criticisms of like breaking everything down out of like context or how things are portrayed. But I think that's all I want to say about that topic. But just Rhaenyra letting the thingy go endears her to the audience, I think, is the point I was trying to make there. Even though she stabs the shit out of this fucking boar.
Yeah, it was attacking her.
Yeah, self-defense and everything. Though it was kind of on the ground already dying when she did that, but she was letting out some frustrations. Killing it quickly, all right? It was a mercy. Now, then we cut back and we get the scene at the bonfire where Alicent walks up. Now, an interesting thing we can talk generally here about Alicent and Viserys' portrayal of their relationship so far. We've never seen them kiss. They don't seem... how would you even put this? Like, I don't know. I don't think we could ever see a sex scene between these two and it be like... it would just seem... are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Like, it's kind of weird. They say things like, oh, my love, my husband, and things like that, and you do buy it. It's not like a criticism of like, I don't buy that they're married at all. But it seems like... And it doesn't even seem distant. Because, like, obviously, Alicent courted Viserys by, like, talking to him and sort of creating an attachment. It seems like a little, like, too wholesome almost. And I'm not saying too wholesome is, like, a criticism. It's sort of like it seems a little weird. Did you feel any of this?
Not at all. No.
Really?
I thought it was...
Because this was, like, prolific to me. I was like, this is, like...
I liked when she called him Viserys. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
like,
that is cute. Yeah. It's just like a rain. I guess this is where we bring up the preview. The preview is all about somebody's fucking Rhaenyra, and Viserys is not happy about it.
No.
And there's a scene of like, hand on hand up against a wall. Sexy stuff is happening.
Oh my goodness.
And when I envision Rhaenyra with obviously there are people that it could be, because that would imply that I know that Rhaenyra sleeps with multiple people. But in all those people that Rhaenyra theoretically could sleep with, I'm not spoiling here. Like every one of them, I think like, it's going to be a very different relationship. It's like going to be, I don't want to just say like it'll be hotter or sexier than these two. I feel like that might be what I'm saying, is that this feels very unsexy. So
are you saying that they don't talk to each other the same way that, say, Kristen and Rhaenyra talk to each other? Like when Viserys and Alicent are talking, it feels like there's a bit of, they're not peers, like they're not equals in a way. They're kind of talking,
and I think that is the root of it, is sort of like there's still kind of a father-daughter vibe to it a little bit. Though it also feels like a mother-son vibe a little bit, where he's sort of like bumbling around and stuff. But yeah, like, I feel like it might just be that exactly, that like Rhaenyra is going to be more contemporaries with the people she might end up with. So it'll feel like, I don't know, it feels like they can be more equal, I guess, in sort of like, I don't know, not just like intelligence or like emotional maturity or something like that. There's something off. I don't know. I'm not
like
using my
Alicent
words
would never crack a joke, and then Viserys is gonna laugh at it or something.
Yeah, or
something
if
like
it would be like a wholesome like tee or something like that.
They wouldn't die of laughter.
Yeah, but I think it also is riding the line of, does Alicent actually love him, or is this just like something she's been placed in? Does she like, if the next episode ended with Viserys dying and her going on a monologue Cersei like about how she hated this dumb fucking old man, like I would kind of believe it. Like. But she was grossed out by him the entire time. Like, that's entirely believable. But it's entirely believable that, like, she'll go on a monologue about how much she loves him next episode, and I would entirely believe it. I don't know, this Alicent girl be riding the line. God, but you know I love this fucking next episode. It's going to be about Rhaenyra finding a boy to kiss. I'm going to love it, Ari. I'm a romance simp.
Yeah.
Give me the romance animes. But I'm so excited. We talked about the killing scene. It's funny how they all like clap for him afterwards too and everything. It's like, God, being a king is very isolating.
It's also a bit like, why are they clapping for him? I mean, I guess I know why they're clapping for him, but it's like, as a viewer, you're kind of like, anyone could have done what the king did. He even failed the first time to kill the deer. Yeah. And now everyone has to clap for him. It's so, like, for him as, like, a character, it's like, man. Like,
yeah, and he, like, knows it, obviously. He's not, like, a moron. He knows that it's, like, a pandering, like, clap, like, underneath their breaths that are like, this fucking incompetent idiot.
Yeah.
There's a scene like this in The Sopranos about jokes where, like, Tony, I think he's having a fight with his wife, and his wife is just like, your friends only laugh at your shitty jokes because they're all scared of you. And it's like the whole episode is about Tony realizing how true that is, and them all like going up and laughing, and he like tells an intentionally unfunny joke, and they all do this big belly laugh, and the episode ends with like music, and he's looking around, and he's like, I hate all these fucking idiots. But it's like sort of like the at the top it can be lonely because the people closest to you are probably going to manipulate you and think that they know better, and everybody else like around you is either going to think you're like some god or also pity you. It's just like all Viserys has is Rhaenyra. But does he have Alicent? Who knows? What a complicated situation. Then we get the White Heart thing. It is a really nice scene. I do like it. I like the music and stuff. It kind of reminds me of the Arya scene from season 8 episode 5 a little bit, and I actually like the end of that stuff. I actually like the end of that episode. I like a few.
Wait, season 8 episode 5?
Yeah, when she sees the horse after Dany's burning everything, and
okay. I thought you were talking about when she sees Nymeria. Okay, yeah.
No,
okay.
That one's not good, but I do like the.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
But then she stumbles back into camp, and it's cool. Again, it's the everybody's watching thingy. There's some different reactions, and everybody sees her bloody, and it's like, oh, maybe she is a queen. She does look over at the strong boys.
Yep.
Clubfoot Laris, and do you notice this fucking no, you didn't, because you don't know about the Hightower older brother, apparently. He's sitting with Jason Lannister over here. They're the despicables over on this side. The creepy blokes that don't like Rhaenyra and try to undermine her. Fuck them.
This is how has this happened?
I feel
Jason's such an innocent man.
Fuck Jason. I feel like there's Alicent also has a lot of looks. This whole series has been a lot, and I like it a lot. Like when she runs in, she looks at the strong boys, then she looks over at the sex pest Jason over there, and then she looks over at like the king's table, and it's just like, and again, Alicent riding the line. I love this ambiguous character stuff. Is she looking at Rhaenyra with contempt, like this dumb bitch, killing boars, no good? Or is she feeling bad for her? What's going on? Also, I did get the first battery warning like 5 minutes ago, so...
Yep.
Oh, there are a bunch of Alicent scenes still to go, and then we basically talked about everything. But like her talking to Otto here, and again, she's got the look, because she's like, man, am I still believing what this fucking father prick tells me? He tries to make it seem like it's her duty to get Viserys to think Aegon is the heir to prevent a war. It's interesting. Again, it's sort of this duty thing, right? It's your duty to do the thing, your duty as a mother who wouldn't want their son to be king, she says. The way her body language here is really good. This actress is like born in 2003, Ari. I've already gone on a monologue about this. Yeah. 1 year older than my younger brother, 2 years younger than me. Unbelievable. And the way she's acting this scene, she seems so mature. The way she's leaning on things, the way she's selling being pregnant. The actress did have a funny tweet where she posted with her fake pregnant belly, and she was doing a sign. That was cute. I needed to bring that up for no reason. But I don't know, something about her acting here was just, I don't know, it was really sort of impressive. And though, like, this Alicent girl, what a complex character. I'm talking myself into Alicent actually being my favorite here, when I don't know if I would actually rate her over Rhaenyra.
Over Jason. Right. Okay.
She narrowly beats Jason. And then she has the scene with Viserys right afterwards. She's still on the fucking show here, Ari.
Yeah.
He's got a hangover, Lamau. What an immature young man this
He's missing
King
2
Viserys
fingers.
is. This is when it's made very clear that he's missing 2 fingers. Yeah, but then she gets to read a letter, and he's let in, and he's taken advice from her. What a progressive lad. Naming his daughter.
So what's going on with that letter? Like, who sent that letter? That's what I didn't understand.
Wait, what? The letter was the Daemon thing, wasn't it?
Because obviously Daemon didn't send it. Yeah, it was the Daemon thing. It was a letter saying essentially Alicent picked it up, and she's like, "This is a request for aid."
It might have been Corlys's brother or something, or
yeah, that's what I was
that up
thinking.
later.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but oh, and then we get a Rhaenyra Viserys scene. No, scratch it. Viserys is stealing the show here. They have the heart-to-heart moment. It's so good. It's like the emotional.
I think that's the best scene of the episode.
Yeah, it's so good. And then he promises not to misplant her, or I think that might be the.
Supplant.
They both shit talk sex pest Jason here. What a great time. I think he has the line like, I've been drowning in a lake of like parchment or something since she came of age. Yep. Is that I was thinking maybe that's in the preview, but no, it's in this. What a line.
No, I remember. Yep.
it's just sick, and they're just going
Yep,
back
they
and
come
forth.
to an
It's so good.
understanding.
They confirmed that she's
Yep.
17 here, even though she was 15. It's been 3 years, so I guess it
Or
was a
7 of 10.
yeah, 7 and 10, which is something they say in the books all the time. They're getting this book language right all the time, where the last show didn't really care to. But this 7 and 10, this mind father, this good morrow, all this book talk nonsense that the first show completely
Love it.
did away with. It's cool.
I mean, I like in that scene with Viserys and Rhaenyra how he admits that he wavered on like
Oh, yeah.
making Aegon the heir.
What an
I thought that was
honest
really
young man.
interesting.
So good.
Yeah.
But then she walks out. Who's Rhaenyra marrying? Who's winning in the end? I want to hear the predictions right before we have to end because my battery dies, Ari.
So Rhaenyra.
We've got Laenor as a potentiality. We've got Kristen Cole if they want to run away together. We've got Jason Lannister.
Kristen. Definitely not Jason, although I wish it would happen.
That's
let me think. So, who could Rhaenyra marry? I honestly think
give an answer to that one.
No, so. I mean, there's no. They might not even be in the story yet, as far as I'm aware. But the only two that I think are like pretty reasonable to me are Aegon, like Otto suggested, or Daemon. To me, those are the two which are like, oh, that would be really interesting.
So you like incest?
Like Kristen is obviously well, I mean, the Targaryens apparently like incest, but Kristen seems the most obvious, right? Like they're setting it up, but to me, it just feels like
he's
very like he can't. Firstly, he can't, but also it seems very obvious, like of a story if he chooses to like give up his vows and she chooses to give up her,
he's
like,
the boy next episode.
No way, no. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. I think, oh boy, he's gonna die somehow at a young age.
Kristen Cole is?
I don't think we're getting many more episodes with Kristen. Because I know at some point that some time skip happens because I know there's new actors. I don't know when that is. I don't think we're gonna get good old Kristen there when he's older. I don't know what else. Viserys is gonna. I think Viserys is like making one more episode. I don't think there's any way that he gets to episode 5. Like it's crazy.
Bold. In the preview, by the way, I guess I'll bring up things. They do show Rhaenyra at Storm's End, potentially looking for a boyfriend. So Kristen is with her because he is her sworn sword, and the Lord of the Stormlands, I'm assuming, is on the other side of her. There's like a cool shot. And also Daemon shows back up in King's Landing. Ooh, the drama. What's going to happen? Fascinating things. Aren't we all excited?
Yep.
But the battery is leaving out. So unless you have any other things to say to end, that might be where we have to leave off.
What are we on? Episode 3, 7? There's 10 in this season?
Yep.
Or 8? 10? All
10,
right.
10.
I am excited. That's all I have to say.
Only 7 more weeks of this. I'm going to cry.
Yep.
But from Mr. Ari and from me, that is going to be the end because we get cut off by this dastardly battery. We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. How is that possible? But with that being said, for the YouTube audience specifically, this is where we're kicking you out. Support links in the description below. Thanks.